Hey everyone, today's lesson, or I should say lessons, are 117 and 118. They talk about dividing a decimal by a whole number. So it's not often that I combine two lessons together in one, but it just really made sense to do that today. To be honest, the specific topic for lesson 118 is something I covered a couple of days ago when we talked about multiplying by a power of 10 and just bumping your decimal or shifting your decimal. Lesson 118 is doing that with dividing. So what do you do when you divide by a power of 10? You don't actually have to do any dividing at all. You're just moving or shifting your decimal to the left. So let's go ahead and get started. This is a little bit of a longer one. Anytime we combine lessons together, they get a little lengthy, and I'm going to try my best to do this as quickly as I can. So our learning targets for today, dividing a decimal by a whole number. So we're just going to really review when you divide by a decimal number, what do you do with that decimal, and how do you know you can be done? There's an important rule with that. Also, dividing a decimal until the remainder is zero. So what I was just saying right there, you are not done dividing a decimal until you reach zero on the bottom. If you're still coming down with numbers, you're not done yet. You have to keep going. You can't just carry it up as a remainder or something. And then, like I said, lesson 18, mentally dividing decimal numbers by 10, by 100, or 1000. So that's that rule of 10 and bumping your decimal. I'm just going to skim by this. This will be in your notes. I think, I don't know. I don't love this diagram. It's a little confusing for me. But to talk through it really quick, I guess, just to remember when we're working with decimal numbers, anytime we add or subtract them, we must line up our decimals. Anytime we multiply decimal numbers, we worry about it at the end. We arrive at an answer and then bump decimal places from the back to determine where it goes. We should probably review that sometime. A lot of people forget that one. And then anytime we divide a decimal number by a whole number, that's our skill that we're practicing today, your decimal carries straight up. So we'll be doing that. Skimming past this. Okay. So taking a look at this is our only one today that's in word form or story form. Go ahead and pause the video, give this a try, and when you're confident in your answer, unpause the video and check your work with mine. So for an art project, Corbin must cut a length of ribbon in half. Already my brain says I'm going to divide something by 2, right? The ribbon is 4 8/10, or you could say 4.8 meters long. If he cuts the ribbon correctly, how long will each length of the ribbon be? All right, I'm going to get my stylus pen ready. We have, right now, he has a length of ribbon that is 4 8/10 of a meter long. I've mentioned this earlier, but it is really challenging for me to draw a decimal point with a stylus, so they look like little lines. I'm sorry. 4 8/10 divided by 2. We're cutting it in half. So anytime we divide a decimal number by a whole number divisor on the outside, our decimal just carries straight up. That's the first thing you should do. Part of your answer is done. See if I can get it. Okay, that's going to have to work. So now I'm just honestly going to divide like I normally would any other division problem. Can 2 go into 4? Yes. 2 times. And that is in fact 4. And I subtract and I have 0 here. We have one more space to fill, so we must carry down our number. We get 8 here. Can 2 go into 8? Yes. 4 times. I'm going to zoom out to get myself a little more space here. 4 times 2 is in fact 8. And when we subtract those, we get 0. That's how I know I'm done. Once I hit 0, good. There's my answer. 2 4/10. Take a look at this one. Same thing, just in equation form. We have 42 hundredths divided by 3. Go ahead and pause, give this a try, and when you're ready, unpause and check your work with mine. The first thing I'm going to do is bring up my decimal. I'm going to actually zoom back in a little bit for a moment. Okay, can 3 go into 0? No. If the answer is no, you fill it with a 0. Can 3 go into 4? Yes. 1 time. And that is 3. Yikes. I'm going to see if I can redo that. And that is 3. Seriously? A little better. Okay. 4 minus 3 is 1. We're not at 0 yet. Also, we have a space left to fill here. We need to carry down our 2. Got to zoom back out for some more room here. Can 3 go into 12? Yes. 3 times 4 is 12. And so that, oof. Try again. 12 minus 12 is 0. We've reached 0 on the bottom. That means, and we filled all our spaces we need to fill on top. We are done. 14 hundredths. Moving on. This is just exact same type of problem. We have a decimal number divided by a whole number, just in linear form. Anytime you see this, I recommend you just to write it in the form where we're using that division box. So, of course, that first number that we're given, 15 hundredths, that is your dividend. It goes inside the box. And then the 3 is our divisor. It's on the outside of the box. We have 15 hundredths divided by 3. Again, pause the video here and unpause when you're ready to check your work with mine. I'm going to carry up my decimal first. Can 3 go into 0? No. Can 3 go into 1? No. Can 3 go into 15? Yeah, 5 times. And that is 15. And we've reached 0. So we're done. I want to caution you, if I were to back up here, after I wrote my decimal there, some of you may have visually looked at, like, can 3 go into 15? Yes, that's 5, and accidentally put your 5 right here. Can you see where that would be a common error? Putting your 5 right there would cause you to have to continue doing the math here, and it wouldn't be accurate. You'd have to keep bringing numbers down, and because you'd be looking to fill this space right here, and things just wouldn't work out. So just be mindful that above every single digit, I don't know what I'm doing here. Above every single digit, you're putting things in the right place where they need to go. I may have changed the color of my pen. I'm not sure what I just did. So again, here is the same type of problem that we just saw, a decimal number divided by a whole number part. The thing that the skill that kind of gets involved here is, what do you do when you reach the end of a decimal number and you need to keep going? And just to remind you, anytime you're doing work with decimal numbers, you can always add zeros. Always add zeros. Add as many as you need to until you reach 0 on the bottom. So I'm going to start by writing my problem out in the box here. Again, if you want to try this on your own, which I highly encourage you to do, pause it here. So I have 6/10, yikes, divided by 5. Now that I have that written, I'm just going to scroll a little bit to give myself some room. Can 5 go into 0? No. Oh, first thing I should have done right away, bring up my decimal. So I should have done that first. 5 can't go into 0. I'm going to move on. Can 5 go into 6? Yes, once. And that's 5. And I'm left with 1. So I've filled my spaces on top, but I am not at 0 on the bottom. I can't stop here. I have to keep going until I reach 0. And that means I gotta add in some zeros. So I'm gonna add in a 0 here and drop it down and keep going until I reach 0 on the bottom. So now can 5 go into 10? Yeah. 2 times, and that is in fact 10, and now I've reached 0. So I had to go a little bit further. Instead of just the tenths place, I had to go on to the hundredths place, but I've arrived at an answer. I've got 0 on the bottom, 12, that didn't work, 12 hundredths. One more time, sorry everyone, 12 hundredths is my answer. We're going to practice that exact same skill here, adding in a 0 or zeros as necessary until we reach 0 on the bottom. So we have 3/10, as our, there we go, dividend, and 4 is our divisor in this case. Pause it and give it a try. Unpause when you're ready. So first thing I'm going to do is carry up my decimal. Can 4 go into 0? No. Can 4 go into 3? No. Uh-oh. That's a weird answer. What do I do? We can't just leave it like that. That's not accurate. We got to keep doing the work. We're going to add in some zeros and do what we need to do until we can actually divide this. So if I add a 0 in here, now I'm asking, well, 4 can't go into 3, but can 4 go into 30? Sure. How close can we get? 4 times 7. 4 times 7 is going to get us the closest without going over. 4 times 7 is 28. And we're left with 2. We're not done then because we haven't reached 0 on the bottom. We have to add another 0. You can add zeros all day long. There's no limit. So we're bringing that down now. Now we're not just asking, can 4 go into 2? Can 4 go into 20? And the answer is yes. It can go in 5 times. 4 times 5 is, in fact, 20. And now we've reached 0 on the bottom. So as soon as you reach 0 on the bottom, all done. 75 thousandths. I think we might have one more example. Okay, yeah, so here, this is really important. We can do this pretty quickly. We don't have to do any type of setting up a box at all. You can if you really want to check your work, but you don't need to. We're dividing 3 4/10 by a power of 10. We're dividing it by 10. So you don't have to set up a box or anything. We're only going to bump our decimal and we'll get our answer. So take a look right now. We have 3.4 or 3 4/10. When we're dividing by 10, 10 has 1 0 in it. So we're going to move our decimal 1 space to the left. So now if our decimal's over there, I have to fill in some zeros. So if my decimal's here and there's nothing in front of it, I have to fill it in with a 0. My new answer becomes 0.34. And of course, that is read as 34 hundredths. One more example really quick. Sorry, I scrolled a little too fast. Mentally divide 3 5/10 by 100. So again, don't have to do any math at all. We're just going to bump our decimal. 100 has 2 zeros in it, so we're going to move our decimal to the left 2 spaces. 1, 2. Our new decimal goes here. Yikes. Yeah, it's supposed to be a decimal. Okay, and so now we have some spaces to fill with nothing in them. We have a space here that needs to be filled, a space here that needs to be filled. I'm sorry, those aren't straight. This is kind of fat. So now we have 0 and my lights just turned off. Sorry about that. 0, we have 0, 3, 5, and that of course is read as 35 thousandths. All right, so that wraps it up for today. If you have any questions or need any clarification, just replay parts of this video. Otherwise, you'll find detailed notes attached in Google Classroom along with your homework assignment. Thanks, and have a great day.